Hey guys. Welcome to our channel Civil Engineering Guru. Hope you all are fine. As you guys know, we are discussing various branches of civil engineering. Today our topic is Geo-technical Earthquake Engineering. Branch of Geotechnical Engineering and sub-branch of Civil Engineering. So move toward our topic. What is Geotechnical Earthquake Engineering? The effect of earthquake on people and their environment as well as methods of reducing these effects is studied in earthquake engineering. It is a new discipline, with most of the developments in the past 30 to 40 years. Most earthquake engineers have structural or geotechnical engineering background. Now move towards explanation. Geotechnical earthquake engineering is an area within geotechnical engineering. It deals with the design and construction of projects in order to resist the effect of earthquakes. Geotechnical earthquake engineering requires an understanding of geology, seismology and earthquake engineering. Furthermore, practice of geotechnical earthquake engineering also requires consideration of social, economic and political factors. In seismology, internal behavior of the earth as well as nature of seismic waves generated by earthquake is studied. Now move towards next topic, that is steps for design earthquake. There are various steps. The very first step in geotechnical earthquake engineering is to determine the dynamic loading from the anticipated earthquake. The anticipated earthquake is also called design earthquake. For this purpose, following activities needs to be performed by geotechnical earthquake engineer. Investigation for the possibility of liquefaction at the site. Liquefaction causes complete loss of soil shear strength, causing bearing capacity failure, excessive settlement or slope movement. Consequently, this investigation is necessary. Calculation of settlement of structure caused by anticipated earthquake. Checking the bearing capacity and allowable soil bearing pressures to make sure that foundation does not suffer a bearing capacity failure during the design earthquake. Investigation for slope stability due to additional forces imposed due to design earthquake. Lateral deformation of slope also needs to be studied due to anticipated earthquake. Effect of earthquake on the stability of retaining walls. Analyze other possible earthquake effects, such as surface faulting and resonance of the structure. Development of site improvement techniques to mitigate the effect of anticipated earthquake. These include ground stabilization and groundwater control. Determination of the type of foundation, shallow or deep, best suited for resisting the effect of design earthquake. To assist the structural engineer by investigating the effect of ground movement due to seismic forces on the structure. Now we move toward our next topic, that is earthquake records. Move towards topic. Accurate records of earthquake magnitudes have been kept only for some 100 years since the invention of the seismograph in the 1850s. Recent records of casualties are likely to be more reliable than those of earlier times. There are estimated to be some 500,000 seismic events each year. Out of these, about 100,000 can be felt and about 1,000 cause some form of damage. Now we move toward next topic, most powerful earthquakes. Each increase of earthquake of 1 point on the Richter scale represents an increase of 10 times in the disturbance and a release of 30 times more energy. Richter scale is used to measure magnitude of earthquake and has been discussed in detail later in the book. The smallest measurable events associated with earthquake release energy in the order of 20 J. This is equivalent to dropping a brick from a tabletop. The most powerful recorded earthquake was found to release energy, which is equivalent to the simultaneous detonation of 50 of the most powerful nuclear bombs. Most powerful historical earthquakes are shown. Now we talk about seismic waves. Move toward our topic. When an earthquake occurs, different types of seismic waves are produced. The main seismic wave types are compressional, P, shear, S, Rayleigh, R, and Love, L, waves. P and S waves are often called body waves because they propagate outward in all directions from a source, such as an earthquake, and travel through the interior of the earth. Love and Rayleigh waves are surface waves and propagate approximately parallel to the Earth's surface. Although surface wave motion penetrates to significant depth in the Earth, these types of waves do not propagate directly through the Earth's interior. Now we discuss the faults of earthquake. Move toward topic. The outer part of the Earth is relatively cold. So when it is stressed it tends to break, particularly if pushed quickly. These breaks, across which slip has occurred, are called faults. The most obvious manifestations of active faulting are earthquakes. Since these tend to happen along the boundaries between plates, this is where most of the active faulting occurs today. However, faulting can occur in the middle of the plates too, particularly in the continents. In general, faulting is restricted to the top 10-15 kilometers of the Earth's crust. Below this level other things happen. Fault classifications. There are 3 types of faults. Active faults. Inactive faults. Reactivated faults. Active faults. Active faults are structure along which we expect displacement to occur. By definition, since a shallow earthquake is a process that produces displacement across a fault, all shallow earthquakes occur on active faults. Inactive faults. Inactive faults are structures that we can identify but which do not have earthquakes. As we can imagine, because of the complexity of earthquake activity, judging a fault to be inactive can be tricky. However, often we can measure the last time substantial offset occurred across a fault. If a fault has been inactive for millions of years, it's certainly safe to call it inactive. However, some faults only have large earthquakes once in thousands of years, and we need to evaluate carefully their hazard potential. Reactivated faults. Reactivated faults form when movement along formerly inactive faults can help to alleviate strain within the crust or upper mantle. Deformation in the New Madrid seismic zone in the central United States is a good example of fault reactivation. If you guys like our today's video, then like, comment and share our today's video. If you guys have any questions, ask in comment box. Subscribe our channel Civil Engineering Guru. Thanks you. Bye.